knowing show and another knowing conversation with the one and only Chris Martinez.
That's
Chris,
me.
my
That's
friend,
me.
so good to see you. How are you?
Likewise. Good. I didn't take a last minute flight and then just get to the hotel, so probably a little less stress than you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I already two times, y'all. Chris has been gracious. Let me just tell you what this man has endured coming on this show. One, I gave his booking link to someone else rather than my
Forgot about
booking
that.
link. They scheduled a meeting for a knowing conversation with me, but it was Chris's link. So he hops on with Chris and they don't even know each other. And it's like, what's happening? So, all that to say, that's the first thing that happened. And then the second is that I hopped on a flight this morning and yeah, just had to deal
That's
with the
cool.
little kinks in the road. So, Chris, thank you. You're
Yeah, no problem.
incredibly kind.
So, what city are you actually in today? Because you're like this global traveler. You're all over the place.
I know. I'm in Austin today. It was
Oh,
very last
cool.
minute. I was planning to stay home, but I honestly, I was looking at all the driven pictures and I was like, you know what? Let me go to my people.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm
that makes
here.
sense. Yeah.
Chris, I got to tell you, with Steve Sims passing last week,
Hmm.
I think that I'm just very deeply impacted right now in
Hmm.
relation to community.
Hmm.
And I'm just looking at each one of these people here. I don't know all of them by any means, but I'm just like, man, they're really precious. And
Yeah.
and I really want to invest. Like I want to know you. Like I'm so grateful for these conversations because they provide the platform for us to have conversations beyond just we're at a networking event. Hey, how's it going? Although I really loved it. We really got to know each other because we were atop a yacht and
Yeah.
had
Oh,
some neat
yeah.
conversations actually at the Driven event in Mexico. So
Yeah. That was
I'm
super
glad
fun.
to be here with you. That was super fun. Chris, tell me who you are for everyone
Okay.
who does not know. And then I actually do have a topic for today that I'm excited to discuss.
I love it. Well, who I am is probably not going to be nearly as much fun as the topic that we're going to talk about, but I currently own a company called Bloom. We do management consulting and mergers and acquisitions for marketing agencies. So
Love it.
that's my day job. I've been in the marketing
Mm,
space for over 13 years. I had an agency, I had an outsourcing company, and now we do management consulting. So it's been an
mm,
interesting progression.
yeah.
Um, but on top of that, I'm a husband. I'm a father of the two puppies.
Ah!
uh,
I love it.
I'm a soccer player. I'm a aspiring jujitsu fighter practitioner.
Nice. Fun.
I'm a sociologist by education. I like to consider myself a philanthropist,
I love it.
and I think that's a good way to kind of sum up who I am.
I love the uh sociologist by education. Uh,
Yeah.
I really love that. And you and I have connected actually online with just some
Hmm.
posts and stories about that very thing. And it's really fun to hear your education and insight, part of which I'm excited to talk about today.
Yeah. I mean, sociology. I was like the one person that paid attention. I think.
Yeah.
I love. I loved my degree. I loved my classes. I loved all the professors that I had. I had some amazing professors. I also went to college in a really unique time. So, like, I was in college when the planes hit the Twin Towers, and one of my
Mm,
professors, he was one of the leading experts on Hamas and terrorism,
wow.
and so he was all over CNN for those weeks after the terrorist attack.
Get out of town.
Yeah, it was wild, and I was learning from this guy in like real time. And so what was interesting about the curriculum that we were studying in sociology is that up to September 10th, 2001, the curriculum was really focused around globalization, right? And like
Mm,
just spreading, like businesses spreading all across the world, and how interconnected we were now becoming as a society, as a world. And then as soon as terrorism hit, it was completely different. It changed, and it
mm.
was a lot about the Middle East and conflict and all these other things. So
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, I learned a ton. I love my education. It's interesting the ways that you find that you can apply your sociology education. Like
Yeah,
moving to
I
another
can only
country, for example.
imagine.
When I lived in Mexico from 2018 to 2023, I was able to see how the cultural norms in that society, even though Mexico is just so close. I was able
Right.
to see how that shapes the way that people view the world. That was really, really fun.
Hmm.
Anyways,
I'm making a quick note because of something you said, but I don't want to lose the other train of thought I had. Okay, so you said a whole bunch of things there that are that there's a lot of strings we could pull on, but the main
mm-hmm,
one that I want to ask you is, how did the curriculum shift
mm-hmm,
to, you said more so, the world at large was focused on the globalization, companies
mm-hmm.
spreading. Was that really what the curriculum was focused on as well? And then the curriculum itself shifted to conflict in the Middle East specifically?
It was impossible to not talk about that, right? So
Right.
I remember in the courses that I was taking, and I think I was still lower division for the most part up until after 9/11. But there was a lot of talk about multinational corporations and how they were
Hmm.
basically like taking over the world. And
Wow.
this is something that I disagree with most sociologists, is that they're not capitalistic. And like, I'm an entrepreneur, so obviously I'm a capitalist. I believe in
Yeah.
capitalism. I believe in ethical capitalism. And so um, a lot of the curriculum was talking about inequality and fueled by multinational corporations, and the
Mm.
the the way that a lot of these multinational corporations were then changing or stripping the indigenous culture, or like the native cultures, because of um, capitalism. I don't know. That's my
Yeah.
easiest way to describe it. And granted, this is 24 years ago. So my memory might not be as accurate, but this is how I remember it. Then we
Yeah.
had 9/11, and I don't know how old you were at the time, but I was 21 years old. I remember waking up in the
Mm.
morning, and my roommate, who was also, he had graduated and he was getting ready to go to work in the morning, and he rushes to the front of the room and he's on the phone with his mom, and he flips on the TV and he's like, "We're being attacked." And I was like,
Wow.
"What in the world are you talking about?" And then sure enough, the towers were on fire, and then eventually they fell down.
Wow.
Um, and then the curriculum after that was way more geared towards um, terrorism, Hamas, Al
Mm.
Qaeda, which we didn't even know. Nobody really knew what Al Qaeda was at the time, or at least I didn't. Um,
Mm.
and then, there was just this overwhelming fear in the country. But what was unique about that time that's very different from today is there was a coming together moment,
Mm.
um, where even though we couldn't pinpoint who the the culprit was until a few
Yeah.
months or like a few weeks, Americans really did come together, and we really did feel like we all had to stick up for each other, and
Right.
there's plenty of documentaries about this if you didn't live through it or whatever. But
Mm.
that was a unifying moment. It wasn't a moment that caused more division amongst Americans. We still were considered all Americans, I would say, unless you were brown and had a different last name, then many of
Mm.
those people were being ostracized, or unfortunately. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say overall, it was like a unifying moment for the country. And
Mhm.
so, like, because of all the things that were going on in the world, the curriculum that I was learning in sociology, it changed, because there was just no way getting around it. Like,
Right.
you couldn't not talk about what was going on with those terrorist attacks.
Well, and your professor was a leading voice on
Yeah,
Hamas already, so it wasn't like he was speaking about something to which he did not know. He was
yeah.
highly educated in it, so it makes sense that it would change. Okay, so a few questions. You mentioned that how the sociology that you studied
Mhm.
at the time, and it seems like, Chris, this is just kind of an ongoing study for you, just in general, beyond what you learned in the classroom, but it's just kind of a study of life. Is that fair to say,
Yeah, I think
from
that
what I've
everybody
observed
who
of you?
I think that everybody who goes to a four-year university, like, one of the biggest benefits is it gives you a framework for solving problems and also for seeing the world.
Mm. Hmm.
Um, like, there are people out there that believe that you go to college to just learn how to do a job, and I disagree with that. There are certain undergraduate degrees where that's applicable, but I think that if, like,
Mm.
it doesn't make sense to go to a four-year university if you're just going to learn how to do a job.
Right.
Um, in the book, oh my God, what's the famous book by Eric Nies? Um, Something startup. Oh my God, it'll come to me. We have to put it in the show notes or something. But there's something that he put in that book that was just like
Mm,
an awesome moment, like a light bulb moment for me. Is he wrote in there that the type of education that you get in a university
mm.
um,
The lean
determines
startup.
the lean startup. There we go.
Got
The
it.
education that you get at a university determines the size of the problems that you're able to solve. I
Wow.
absolutely love that because it's true.
Mm.
Like if you meet engineers, for example, like I don't know if you know any engineers or if you have friends that are engineers, the way that they
Yeah.
approach a problem is very different than how I will approach a problem.
Right.
An accountant, a finance background will approach a problem much differently than somebody with a psychology background or a medical background, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of higher education. And
Right.
I'm still an advocate of higher education minus the cost because the cost is astronomical.
It's so bad. I know.
Yeah.
They sell their souls effectively. It's
But this
bad
is what
stuff.
was great about the University of California system is that like if you did well, which I always got good grades in school, I started very hard, been blessed with a relatively intelligent brain. Um, I got into to University of California Santa Barbara, and what was great about that system is that the state will basically help to subsidize the cost.
Interesting. Just
So
based on grades,
well, you have to
not
get
anything
in.
else.
You have to get in, and once you get
Okay.
in, the cost for out-of-state tuition is like 4 times more expensive.
Right.
And then in-state tuition, the state government like contributes to
Cool.
your tuition. So my
I
my
love that.
tuition, my tuition when I was again, this is I don't know, again, I can't even count 27 years ago, 17 years ago, 17 years ago. No, more than that. See, this is my math. It's early in the morning for me. I can't do the calculations. This is 1998 when I started so from 1998 to
Mm,
2003, my tuition I think was $4,500 for the year.
wow.
Four thousand
That's
five hundred
nothing.
dollars. Yeah. So then there was room and board and all the other expenses, books and all that
Right.
stuff. But like you could get an amazing education for less than five
Right.
thousand dollars a year. That's like incredible.
Mhm, mhm. And that's actually interesting because I know that a lot of, especially with this age of AI, where do you predict education going given that? But then also, I mean, you're framing education in higher education and
Hmm.
university in a really positive light. So how do you foresee that shifting or changing with AI coming in? A lot of people are more so like, man, we need to focus on trades and are where the jobs are effectively because it's going to take longer for bots to be able to come
Hmm.
and lay the bricks, although they're already doing that. But that's going to take longer for that to really capitalize mowing lawns and things like that versus these more marketing digital skill sets.
Um, it's a very interesting question. So I'm a huge advocate of AI. What kind of surprises me is how difficult it is for people to truly leverage AI, just even in
Mm,
its current state. Like the amount of people that cannot prompt or cannot get the AI to solve problems. It's very, very shocking to me how difficult that is. Now, why do you think that that is? Because I have my own opinion on that. And I'll tie in. This is going to answer your question, but
okay. I think for most people, I would anticipate it's similar to how I felt when everyone was talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and they're like, "It's on the blockchain," and I'm like, "Where's the blockchain? Like, where is it?" Because people would just talk about it, and nobody actually broke down the terms to such basic levels. And I think the people who are the ones who are actually able to utilize it are the ones who have really taken time to even just start playing with it and being
hmm
willing to feel foolish while doing so. I felt foolish when I said, "Okay, where's the blockchain? You know,
hmm
where is it?" And you have to ask those questions that are I think I felt embarrassed asking that, but I knew I needed
hmm
to if I actually wanted to know. So I
yeah,
think that there's just some very basic preliminary questions people don't understand and they're afraid to
yes,
ask.
yes, that's true. I would also say that the deeper issue is, and that you kind of touched upon this, is communication. And I believe that
Mhm.
the reason why people struggle with AI, even in its current form, which is freaking amazing, is that they just don't know how to communicate and articulate and understand what problems need to be
Interesting.
solved.
Huh.
So if you don't know how to train an individual, train a human being, it's much more difficult for you to train a bot.
Yes.
So if you don't know how to take a human being and say, okay, day 0, you know nothing. And then by day 90, you're going to know 90% of the things that you need to do.
That's
If you
so
don't know
good,
how to
Chris.
do that, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to leverage AI to its fullest capacity. Because the way that I
So,
look at AI is I look at it like it's a person. I'm a huge Star
mm,
Wars fan. I don't know if you can see. I have a Star Wars thing back there. Um,
oh no, I did. I see
there it
it.
is. And then I got my little
I love
Darth Darth
it.
Vader doll here. Um,
This is great.
so so I look at AI like it's C3PO. If you're familiar
Yeah,
with Star Wars,
that's
and
this is
I've been
so
a
good. I
huge
love
fan
this
of
analogy.
I've been a huge fan of Star Wars since I was a little kid, and so C3PO is a droid, right? It's a bot, it's a robot. And what do you leverage C3PO for? It has
Mm,
all the answers,
right,
but there are limitations to what C3PO can do.
right.
And so that's how I approach AI is like we have to
Mm,
teach the AI to be like a human. And
mm,
if you communicate with the AI as if you're teaching a human, it's the beauty of AI, it's going to learn so much faster than every human out there, and it'll remember much better. There's still
and
flaws,
remember,
many, many flaws. There's so many, many flaws, don't get me wrong. So you can't trust everything that it does.
right.
But when you look at how slowly a human learns, and then you compare it to how quickly an AI
Mm,
learns, this is how you're able to 10x your productivity or 100x your productivity. And so, with that being said, there are aspects of AI that are going to replace what humans do. It's just
right.
natural. There are aspects that are not going to be replaced by AI. And I think it's too early to say what is or what is not going to be replaced by AI.
Mm,
What I will say is that what AI cannot replace, unless we have the actual robots walking around interacting with us on a daily basis and doing tasks and interacting with us like humans, but AI cannot replace holding people accountable.
mm,
So let's just take another analogy. Like I think we've all downloaded fitness apps before, right? And like we have a massive obesity problem in the US.
right,
Most people know what they got to do. They got to eat healthy
right,
and they got to exercise. But how many of us
right.
have downloaded an app or bought a course and never use it, or we use it once?
Or
You know,
gotten a
like
gym membership.
I got a gym membership, but you don't go. Like I love the gym. I was there this morning, hit some PRs. It was awesome. Um, but like that piece of accountability of dragging humans across the freaking finish line because oftentimes
Mm,
we're too lazy and we get in our own way. AI can't do that. So, from a business standpoint, if that's something that is incorporated into your business, if you essentially drag customers across the finish line and hold them
mm,
accountable, AI can't replace that.
mm. I You know what I love? I came into this conversation with the intention of talking about leadership. And
Oh, we can talk about
we're
that.
talking about leadership right now.
Yeah.
Like even what you were saying about sociology and really analyzing and knowing how societies and people function, it's such a core basic level. And then being able to, the two things that stood out to me was communication and accountability.
Hmm.
And y'all, if what a good mirror. If we can't even train our AI bots, how can we ever hope to lead our teams efficiently? And so I think that that's actually that's a very astute and meaningful observation because um, it's really easy to blame everyone else rather than looking in the mirror. And when it's you and the
Yeah.
bot, it's you versus you.
Yeah.
How good is your communication? How good is your systems? Because if you were to take your existing onboarding with employees and try it with the bot, like let's put that to the test. How effective is that? So I
Right.
think that that's a
Right.
really, really good point. What else? So communication and then accountability. What else is like so critical, Chris, in terms of the way you lead, and then that translating with AI as well, or it doesn't translate to AI, and this is why you actually really need to hone and sharpen your skills as a leader in this regard.
Yeah. I think that I know that AI is being marketed right now, at least in our space, right, as this magic pill. It's a get rich quick. Like everybody is
Yeah.
positioning it like this get rich quick, like you got to do this and you're going to make all this money and da 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 da. It's just a tool. It's an amazing
Mhm.
tool. But if you don't know the fundamentals of using the tool, you're not going to be able to leverage it
Mhm.
to its fullest capacity. So strip AI out of the conversation and let's just focus on leadership and you being an amazing entrepreneur and CEO of your company. Like
Right.
having discipline, doing what you say. I would say living with integrity, being
Yeah.
honest, creating an amazing product. Like
Mm.
we work with marketing agencies and very, very often, at least once a week, we have a marketing agency that comes to us and like, hey, we're struggling. We just need more leads. And then I go and I'm like, okay, how many of your clients are actually making money? Because that's what your product
Mm.
does. If you're a marketing agency, your job is to make your clients more money. That's it. Like you can say that we have all this fancy tech and we do these automations and all that crap. At the end of the day, your clients want to make money. They're paying you two, three, four, $10,000 a month. They want to make money. So
Yep.
in those instances where the agency owner is saying like, I just need more leads, I just need more sales, and I look at
Mm.
their product is dog shit. Their clients are not making money. Like you
Right.
have to have
Right.
a good product. So
Mm.
like you have to hold yourself to that standard and like just do what you say you're going to do for the customers. That's an
Hmm.
internal thing. There are certain people out there, there's not many of them, but there are certain people that just do not care. I don't work with those people. I kind of
I don't
hate
work with
them.
them either.
I kind of hate them. But like build a good business, like know your financials. Like these are disciplines that you have to develop as an agency owner. And I
Mm.
know like entrepreneurs are like,
Mhm.
oh, I got into this business because I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. That's nonsense. Somebody's always going to tell you what to do.
Mhm.
Like
Mm.
build a business that is a healthy business that helps your clients, that has good margins. And then you as
Mm.
the owner, you have to have those skill sets of a true like
Yeah.
CEO and a founder.
Right.
Um, when you have that in place already, when you have those skills, you can then go out and use tools like AI to do things much, much more
Mhm.
efficiently. So, for example, like
Yes.
part of your I would say your number one responsibility as a CEO of a company is to increase the value of your company.
Mhm.
So, when you're doing an evaluation of yourself, let's just say at the end of the year, and you're saying, did I do a good job? Look at your financials from 2024, end of 2024, and compare them to the end of 2025. Is the company worth more at the end of 2025 than it was at the end of 2024?
Mhm.
If the answer is no, you failed. You did not do your job.
Mm.
Now I use that word failure. Failure's not bad. It's okay.
Right.
You
Right.
failed though. You failed though. So with that being said, if it takes you 20 hours to analyze your financials manually today, you can leverage a tool like AI to analyze your financials in 30 seconds. Right? So
Mhm.
you have the data can be analyzed much
Right.
much quicker, and then you can then make better decisions using the AI. And you can even go to the AI and say, "Hey, you're the best CFO on the planet. You're the best CEO on the planet. Based on what you're seeing in my financials, what should I do? What should I include in
Mhm.
my plan for 2026? Because this is my goal." Like those are things that you can then plug into AI and get better answers.
I love it, and it really is those hard skills. The tangible ability to communicate, the ability to
Hmm.
have a good product, like
Yep.
like even to your point, like it's not even that we need to be the ones analyzing the data anymore. It really
No.
is of what's the audit and analysis of us as leaders. And I think for each one of us, we need to know actually what our goals are. So profitability is a massive goal. Even
Yeah.
I'm thinking about product, our external product for our customers who are buying, and our internal product for our employees who are staying and we're retaining. And Chris, I know
Right.
you've got 1 minute and you got to jump off. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to say before we jump?
No, I hope this was of value. I feel like we went on a few different tangents, but
I love it.
hopefully I
This was
gave some
great.
value to your audience. Yeah.
I
I'd love to
I
come
so
back on too.
appreciate it. Yeah,
I'll come back
we
on
need
and
to do
talk
a
about
part
whatever the
two.
heck you want. Yeah, for sure.
Let's do a
So
part two. And I appreciate, again, thank you for being patient with me this morning with tech
yeah, no
problems
worries.
and delays. I appreciate you, my
Hopefully
friend. Have a
everything